guys, I'm Greg with Survival Supply and Training. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the areas that you need to be prepping in. What I would call, and I've seen it called on the internet, the 7 core areas of prepping. Now I'm using some notes because I don't want to forget anything, so forgive me for looking at my notes. The 7 areas that you need to prep in are food, water, shelter, sanitation, medical, safety, and security. I'll add an 8th one to that. We'll call it transport. Under food, first of all, let me talk about a little bit about prepping and lists and kits and all this stuff on the internet. You need to tailor your preps to suit you. My preps probably will not help you in your survival. You need to, when you're storing food, you need to store the food that you eat every day. Not a bunch of wheat or a bunch of flour or rice, unless that's what you eat every day. If you eat that, that's great. Or you can change your diet to that and then store them. The problem with storing things that you don't eat is it's going to make you sick. You're going to get hunger burnout, or not hunger burnout, but flavor burnout, where you're tired of eating the same thing all the time. It's not stuff that you're used to. It's not things that your body's used to. So when you're putting away food for storage, make sure that you putting away things that you eat every day. If you eat pasta and green beans and ham, that's what you need to be storing in some form or fashion. Okay, next subject is water. Remember, we gotta have at least, our bodies have to have at least a gallon a day to keep us hydrated. Now, that does not include washing your clothes or other things, flushing the toilet, washing your body, sanitation, whatever. That's extra. You've got to have at least a gallon of water a day just to cook and drink. Otherwise, you're going to die of dehydration. So when you're storing water, when you think about water, think about that. If you're a family of 4, you need 120 gallons of water for 1 month. And that is only to keep you hydrated and cook with. That does not help you bathe or provide any sanitation or anything like that. 120 gallons. If you added in sanitation and things like that, then you should triple or quadruple that number. That's 500 gallons of water. That's a lot of water, and that's for 30 days. Now let's think in terms of the long term. How much water are you going to need for a year? That's a lot of water to put up and store. Excuse me. I'll touch on a couple things that'll help you with that. Filtration systems. There are filtration systems on the market. Life Straw, Berkey. I can't even begin to name them all. Aquamera. There are a number of filtration systems that are on the market that will help you. I apologize, I blew up the top. You need to have some type of filtration system, and then you need to have a backup to that filtration system. And you need to make sure that you have, let's say if you have a Berkey filter and it's good for 5,000 gallons of water, then you need to have extra filters so that at 5,000 gallons of water you can change that out. So when you're thinking about prepping and thinking about water, you need some water storage, but you also need an ability to filter water. And don't forget, a cheap way to kill antimicrobials and bacteria and things in water is bleach. I think it's 1 drop or 1 teaspoon per gallon of water. So store some bleach. Store lots of bleach. You need for sanitation anyway. Let's touch on shelter for a second. Shelter can be your clothing. It could be a tent. It could be a camper. It could be your house. It could be your bug out location, whatever it is. You got to have some means of shelter. I'll touch on one subject in the shelter area. If your bug out location is quite a distance from your home living location, then you need to have some type of shelter for your travel to your bug out location, whether that's a tent or whatever. Also, remember to dress appropriately for the weather. We're in fall here in Kentucky. It's cooling down a little bit. I've got my first pair of pants on this year. So it's time for me to change out my summer clothing out of my bag and start putting fall and winter clothing into my bag, into my bug out bag and into my vehicle kits and such. So make sure you dress appropriately. Also on shelter, I will touch on, this could go with food too. Don't forget you got to have a way to build a fire. Fire is, you know, if you're out in the cold, 3 hours. You got 3 hours to survive. So fire is one of the most important things that you can be able to do, is make fire. Now, we've done a dozen videos on different fire starters. Check those out. Have you at least 3 different ways to build a fire in your preps. Sanitation. I mentioned sanitation a couple of times. The sanitation is very important especially in an apocalyptic situation. We take sanitation for granted. We go jump in our showers every morning, we take our shower, we go to Walmart, we buy our soap and our shampoo, we buy our toilet paper to wipe our hiney's with. You've got to think about those things in your preps. You need soap, you need shampoo, you need toothpaste, you need baking soda, you need toilet paper, you need feminine supplies for the ladies in your house. All these are part of sanitation. You also need to think about, in the long term, what you're going to do if these things are no longer available. Again, that's what this video is not about telling you what's available. It's about things for you to think about. Next is medical. You need to have medical preps, especially if you have some type of long-term health condition such as diabetes or cancer, whatever it is that you take medication for. You got a heart condition and you take medication for that, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, whatever it is, you need to have at least a 30-day supply of your medication in your house. Now, that's not going to help you in the long term. Please forgive me for fidgeting, but the mosquitoes are eating me alive. That's not going to help you in the long term. In the long term, you're going to have to come up with some type of herbal remedy, maybe. You need to research what are herbal remedies that you can grow for your medical condition. So keep that in your mind. Next, I will talk about safety. I said earlier I was talking about safety when I was telling you the list. I said I had one more thing to that, and that was transport. Safety and security go together. I should put those together. You need to have a safe bug out location. You need to have a way to get safely to your bug out location. You need to be able to protect your home. You need to be able to go to Walmart and not worry. And I myself am a big firearms guy. I think that firearms handled safely and in the right conditions, properly trained, are one of the greatest assets we can have as preppers. If you don't own any firearms, I suggest you go get the proper training and look into firearms. There's good storage. You need to do it safely. You need to get the proper training. Let me say that. But there's other things about safety to think about. If you're cutting down a tree for firewood, you need to do that safely. If you're using a chainsaw, you need to be wearing chainsaw chaps and a helmet and a face mask. If you're doing something that you may get splashed up in your eyes, you need to wear goggles. So don't forget about those things in your preps. Those are important things to have. You know, we got to stay safe. If you get injured in an apocalyptic situation, then that's going to make it 100 times worse. That will make your survival and your family's survival 100 times worse. On security, make sure that you know, if you're not a firearms person, there are other security options. There are tasers, there are pepper spray, mace, whatever you want to call it. There are other options you can look at, so you need to look at those. And I'm not doing this video, you know, we're not doing too much detail here. I'm just hitting the highlights. The last thing is transportation. If you plan on bugging out, then you need to have a way to bug out. You don't need to just have one way to bug out. You need to have at least 2 ways. And you need to have multiple routes to your bug out location. You need to think about your vehicle. is it in good enough condition to haul me to my bug out location? Is it well maintained? Do I need to maintain it better? You need to think about fuel. You need to have fuel storage. There are lots of ways to store gasoline. Be careful, it is highly flammable. I myself have a diesel truck, and I have diesel stored up, so that if there is a situation that I need diesel, I've got it. You need to rotate your fuel. If you're storing a lot of fuel, you need to rotate it on whatever time span that you decide that you need to rotate on. You need to think about alternative ways of transportation. Bicycles. My family, we all have a bug out bicycle in my family. We have, I've equipped them with carrier racks to put our stuff on. And if we have to bug out, they're going with us. And if we have to leave the vehicle, we have bicycles. Another good bug out vehicle may be an ATV, depending on your situation. You have to think about your situation and what would be best for that. I can't tell you that in a video. We teach classes for that. That's it, guys. I hope that I was able to teach you something and help give you some things to think about. I apologize, I've got a little bit of a raspy throat and the mosquitoes are eating me alive. So I'm going to sign off. I'm Greg, Serralo Supply and Training. Thanks, guys.